I forget if I got this version when I was showing off all the menu music, but of course it's not on that part now. Sometimes the menu music, I don't know if there's a pattern to it, but sometimes the menu music will, instead of being the, I guess you could call it default version, sometimes it's a Ribbon Girl version. Okay, I don't think this is the Ribbon Girl version. I'm gonna still listen to it for a little bit longer. Or maybe it's always a Ribbon Girl version, and I just never notice. Anyway, welcome back for more ARMS. It's time to play... Springtron. I forget, what are his colors? I could be black and yellow, maybe black and purple, or I can be black and green. And my opponents can be black and blue when I beat them. I'll just go default red. Lower it down to 4, because I'm feeling like just chilling. Hey, wait a minute. Oh, man, my arms. Oh. I got it. Hang on. Live from the sparring ring, surrounded by cameras. The ARMS Grand Prix is upon us. And oh boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy, is your buddy Biff excited. We're for one heck of a treat today. The ultimate fighting machine is here. Give it up for the legendary Springtron. There was quite a media circus when this mysterious creation first started entering the Grand Prix. But as we know now, these were calculated demos by the ARMS labs to flex their scientific muscle. And he's not just a disruptor this time, he's fighting to win. Let the ARMS Grand Prix begin! That's actually true to life, by the way. He actually was released as a as the super boss before becoming playable. Match 1 brought to you by ARMS Labs. Springtron versus the Speed Demon, Kid Cobra. Good first opponent. Based on some half-hearted internet research by an ARMS Lab intern, Kid Cobra's natural enemy is the Mongoose. Interesting. That seems a bit too obvious. But wait, maybe it's just my imagination, but is Kid Cobra trembling a bit? Here we go. Yeah, so I think that's only home stage dialogue, but Springtron has dialogue. His intros go over the weaknesses of every character. Now, Springtron is ARMS' first Echo, and being an Echo, his abilities are heavily based on Springman, and which also goes as far as to his default arms literally just being Springman's arms. He even shares the same unlock pool, so anything you unlock for one will be unlocked for the other. It's like they're brothers or something, sharing everything they get. I say that like I was well, okay. No, I can't say that. I was gonna say, oh, like I was particularly good at sharing with my brothers. No. We're pretty good at sharing. No, not perfect, but, you know, pretty good. Sorry, Kid Cobra, sorry to totally beat you with a perfect while I'm blabbering on whatever I was saying. So yeah, Springtron is basically a powered-up Springman, except that's not quite true because his stats are mostly the same, except like his speed and jumping are slightly lower. But so you see, he's got the Shockwave. Instead of becoming permacharged at 25% health, you can do the EMP Shockwave. Ow! Oh man, he shouldn't have jumped. I got him right in the groin. Nope, never mind, it was the shoes. Oh no, that's worse. Oh man, I probably scuffed his Nikes. Or sorry, his Snicks, because that is his brand. His shoes are probably also Snicks. Match 2, don't let ARMS Labs down. Springtron versus the Sucker Puncher, Lollipop. Arms Labs conducted a man on the street survey and trying to figure out her weakness. Okay, so it is for everyone. Since she loves sweets, maybe she can't stand black coffee? Alright, well, perhaps Springtron can make use of that in his fight somehow. Splash coffee in her face, just like Gato! So yeah, it's not exactly an upgraded Springman, he's a little bit weaker, but he's got the Shockwave, which lets him access the permacharge ability whenever he can get the Shockwave off. And of course, if an opponent has their arms out when you do the Shockwave, their arms get knocked down and gives you a free opportunity to punch them right in the face. But the main idea is not necessarily the EMP. You can build around that, like Arms Wiki recommends wind and chill arms, you know, specifically to give you an opportunity to get the EMP off and boost your stats, which is, you know, another trait of the EMP. It's like a threefold thing. It's defensive if you can time it right. It boosts your speed and permacharge your arms. So you're a serious threat when you get the EMP off. But it's not necessarily the main idea, which I'm just going to repeat myself. You can build around it, and you can cement your playstyle around it, but it doesn't have to be the same idea, because you can play it. You can play Springtron like he's Springman. In fact, he does go well with the same arms Springman goes with as well. But you can play him like he's Springman and use the threat of the EMP as bait to get off a Shockwave counter. So he's like Springman, but with a reason to threaten with a charge, with an attempt at a full charge. Because if he actually succeeds, he can be dangerous. Unless you get knocked down. Which is something I didn't get to talk about with Masango is, well, I did talk about how I think his weakness is in his ability to, whether intentionally or not, remove, well, more the ability to unintentionally, if you're not careful, remove his mask. You know, disabling his special abilities. But what I think makes him weaker for that is because of the fact that other charged characters only lose their abilities if they get knocked down. So I think that's perhaps a weak point in Masango's, but like I said, it's, you know, people who really know him probably know how, you know, to avoid doing that, or at least play around it. So I can't claim that he would be a stronger fighter if you change that about him. Yeah, not really talking about Springtron that much because I've already gone over it. Like, he's Springman, same arms as Springman, and he's got that EMP Shockwave, which is not as strong as Boss Mode, or so I'm told. Expect him to play some hoops, And I've just been sticking with the toasters just because that's what I like the most. But also, I believe the Arms Wiki recommends wind over, like, fire, even though they both cause a knockdown, is because wind gives you, you know, they have to spend time in that whirlwind before they hit the ground, and then can get up, so it's a longer window of opportunity to get your charge in. They specifically mentioned, like, not electric, because electric doesn't give you enough of a window. Whoops. It was a bad grab. It was such a bad grab, it wasn't even a grab. It didn't count as his grab. Ah, man. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Springtron because I hate fighting the super boss. I'm really not good at fighting the super boss. I think it's a weird idea to let people play as the super boss online. Although, again, supposedly he's not as strong as the super boss form when you play as him. But that has not been my experience. At least not that I've noticed. Same animation, but he lands with a thud. And I feel like the idea of an Echo in ARMS kind of spoils what's otherwise a very unique pool of characters. A very diverse pool of characters. Behold, the power of ARMS Labs! Springtron versus the Bouncer, Springman. His simple yet effective fighting style and solid win percentage made him a potential fan favorite. When creating Springtron, Arms Labs secretly use Springman as their main inspiration. Building upon data gathered via Helix, they set out to create a fearsomely pure fighter. Though, I'm guessing they weren't able to replicate Springman's resilient spirit. No, they were not. Can science outdo nature? We'll soon find out. See, that's the thing that makes me, you know, I think I mentioned this when talking about the theory that Springman and Max Barras are related. It's like the ability to stay permacharged at 25% health is not. It doesn't have to be uniquely Springman. It can be just because it's supposed to be a representation of his fighting spirit. I was expecting him to cause a shockwave. No, I'm the one who does that. So I think it's very possible that it's more about a similarity in personality rather than a genetic thing. And that dialogue there kind of is well, not concrete proof, but I think it's pretty solid evidence that it's his fighting spirit. Like, it's canonical that it's his fighting spirit. So anyone can have a fighting spirit. Masongo literally has a fighting spirit. That's not true because it doesn't fight. It just boosts his fighting. Yeah, I kind of see Springtron as like well, edgy is kind of obvious, so I feel it's redundant to say that, but Springtron is like the Tryhard version of Springman, where Springman is like, you know, I don't know if I could say by the books, but he's like a fair fighter. He just wants a good, fair fight. He doesn't really care if he wins or loses. He just wants his opponent to do his best, and he's going to do his best. Springtron, I don't know, it's probably not canon, but actually I think there is evidence that he's maybe not necessarily a jerk, but he's probably obsessed with victory, I think. Man, I was reading the wiki earlier today. You would think I would memorize that and be able to confirm directly, like, oh yeah, you know, he is kind of victory obsessed. I mean, his hobby is perfect victories. So he does strike me as that kind of try-hard type who does everything he can to win, not because he thinks it makes it fun, but because he's just so obsessed with winning. In Springtron versus the students of South Ninjara, based on predictive Ninjara's weakness is mosquitoes. Not only are they annoying, slapping them away would reveal his position. That's right, he couldn't hurt a fly. I think Ninjara just laughed at that. Well, he won't be laughing for long. Springtron's here. Aha! See, I would have said I'm not good at timing that, but I actually managed to time it well for once. So that's at least one instance of me actually timing it well and getting a knockdown, or getting an arm knockdown with it. So now the rest of this can go completely poorly, and I won't care. I'm playing on 4 anyway, after just coming off a 7. It's like, this feels like a cakewalk. And then Ninjara mostly avoided my rush. Cool. That charging animation gives you a good opportunity to look at his shirt flap when he charges. Like, that's one of those little details. It's harder to notice while you're actually playing, but if you watch in the replay, it does look really cool. It's like, oh yeah, they animated that. I didn't even know that was a thing they could animate. I think I'll go double boomerangs this time. No particular reason. And I'm sure I've said before, but Springtron kind of does just... Like, this is the thing that makes me feel like he isn't weaker when he's not a super boss. Like, he's still the same... He still has the same level of power. Is when I'm playing the mode Arms Getter, which is basically just random arms and steadily increasing random opponents. Whenever Springtron shows up, it's like he's always there just to make me lose and ruin my fun. And it's made irritating by the fact that both as a super boss and when he shows up in Arms Getter, or not Arms Test, that I only get one chance to beat him. And if I lose, then I don't get to just immediately rematch him. And an Arms Test, every fight is 1 round, so even if even if I start to get used to his pattern and how my arms work against his playstyle, you know, the arms I'm given by the randomization, once you know, I don't get that one round to get used to it. It's either I win or I lose. And it could potentially be because I just couldn't get used to my arms in time. Dang it. Ooh, a second one. Cool. This is going a lot faster than when I was playing on 7 earlier. And that's nice. That's why I decided to go on 4. To take it easy a little bit. Arms labs so high. Let's change it up and play some b-ball. I wonder if I could get a shockwave off. Oh. I don't know if that actually affected Mechanica. I don't know if it does. I want to see if it does. No, I don't think it can. Now, there's also a little secondary shockwave that happens when you do that shockwave. I'm not really sure what makes the difference, because I don't think it necessarily, excuse me, provides, you know, an extra layer of defense to the shockwave. Like, you have the initial pulse that knocks them down, and I know, I'm pretty sure right after that pulse, if you get up close and go for a grab, you can land the grab. So I'm not really sure why the wiki specifically points that out, because I don't think it does anything. My 7 arms live off to great employee benefits. In Springtron versus the Man of Mystery Helix. Arms Labs compiled every bit of historical fight data to research Helix's weakness, and he doesn't really have one. Big surprise considering Arms Lab made him. I guess Helix is sort of a precursor to Springtron? Battle between 2 lab experiments. So exciting. It's like we're brothers. Except Helix is the superior being because he's so wacky and seemingly fun-loving and curious, childlike. I think Springtron's just an edgy loser who just wants to win. I almost want to say sorry to any Springtron fans watching, but also, nah, you kind of deserve it for having Springtron be your favorite. I'm kidding, of course, but it's like, do I really care if I hurt a Springtron main's feelings? Springtron Man. It's like if they were to combine Springtron and Springman to just make Springtron Man. Well, what would his powers be? It's like, would he just be Springtron but also with the permacharge when he gets below 25% health? I suppose that's what they would do. But why would they do that? It's like a super extra super boss? A super ultra mega boss? Okay, if you're going blorbs, I'm going to try to circumvent those blorbs. Man, why'd that feel so fast? I don't think the shockwave makes your, Oh, maybe that was the shockwave they were talking about. I thought the wiki said it was a little bubble that also has the potential to knock arms down. No, it's... You get the shockwave, you get the regular Springman shockwave at the start of the EMP. So it's like you're rewarded. See, that's how the shockwave can be really overpowered, and I hate that. Being able to end a rush just because it didn't get to you in time. It's really obnoxious when fighting the boss, or fighting the NPC, and I'm sure would be in a competitive scene as well. But then again, in a competitive scene, you know, if it's a human player who just successfully predicted you, I find it harder to be mad. Because, you know, when it's the AI, it feels cheap. It feels like they're just using their, you know, the fact that they can they're literally reading your inputs right now, that they can just do whatever they want. Like how they just automatically instantly block if they're able to whenever you do a rush. So, like, no matter how perfectly timed it is, you can't catch them off guard unless it's a counter. But when it's a human, it's like, oh, wow, man, your reflexes are really good. You really know this game. You really know the ebbs and flows of it. Consider investing in Arms Lab today. Springtron versus the Spirited Fighter, Masango. Elite researchers from Arms Lab studied these ruins, hoping to uncover the secret to its power. The symbols on the floor bear a strong resemblance to modern-day arms fighters. Considering these ruins date back to prehistory, it seems impossible. Well, one theory is that ancient Masangans could perhaps foretell the future? Still, one thing in the symbols doesn't make sense. Okay, all of this is going way over my head, so let's just get on with the fight. Let's go toasters. Toasters! Yeah, I think knockdown from a firearm gave me enough time to get in a charge. But yeah, again, I guess the idea with wind is that it gives you a comfortable amount of time to get in the full charge. What? Oh, when I was just about to say, I'm totally dominating. Then I wasn't. Oh, nope, it's gonna miss. Oh, broke his guard. Didn't get a chance to put down the spear. Nice. I guess Springtron is kind of fun, but at the end of the day, he is just Springman with an overpowered shockwave that people say isn't overpowered if you know how to read it, but I've tried and it still doesn't work. Or at least not consistently, so it's like, I'd rather he had just been an entirely new fighter. You know, I could even accept him having the same moveset if he had his own unique arms, and or if he weren't strictly based on Springman, if he were a new robot type character. Man, my nose really itches right now, but I don't want to pause to scratch it. Come on, Masango, you gotta go down so I can scratch my nose. Oh, come on. Okay, close enough. He's on the ground. Not knocked out, but I still had time to scratch my nose. I could have EMP'd. So just laughing at the fact that that sentence ended with P. What? Ah, almost. Knocked me out of it. If I had super armor, he would have been done for. Thankfully, Springtron does not have such a thing. I had to rush just to get in that one punch. And sometimes that's all you need. And yeah, I guess all the intros don't go over weaknesses because I remember Masango's weakness is sharp objects on the floor because he doesn't wear shoes. Oh no. No, I have to take down my favorite robot of this game as my least favorite robot of this game, when there are only 2 robots in this game. Springtron versus the Clockwork Cops, Byte and Bark. In search of their weakness, Arms Lab researchers have been posing as beach tourists and tailing them. Byte seems strangely enthusiastic when a lovely young woman asks him for directions, so maybe... Whoa, the lights on Byte's head just flashed. I guess the fight's about to start. Who knows if that was coincidence or him getting flustered and having him being called out that he was interested in a cute lady. Ow. Aha! I knew you were gonna attack. I knew you couldn't resist. You're too pressure-oriented to resist going for the trying to attack me while I do a shockwave or an EMP. Sorry, I should remember there's a distinction. You know, keep the terminology clean by referring to this move as the EMP and this move as the shockwave. Haha! Yeah, this extended dash distance does feel fun. Actually, now that I think about it, are there any characters who by default have really high dash stats? I'm not sure that there are any. Because King Cobra, his is jumping, it's not dashing. You have to charge to get a dash. I'm sorry, I smacked my controller after reaching my hand back down after scratching my nose. It's a whole domino effect. Yeah, I don't know if there are any fighters that by default have like a maxed out dash stat. Which, there you go, there's some room for a new fighter. Someone who's got really good dashing abilities. Probably has other mechanics centered around the ability to move fast. Yeah, that kind of is my thinking for the as Arms 2. I don't have any particular wants, just please, just fill new gaps. Fill gaps in character spaces we Arms 1 left. Like having a character with high dash stats. With a high dash. And also, please Nintendo, no more shockwaves. Oh man, I'm fighting Springtron and Springtron. That's wild. Am I hallucinating? Do we have an intruder? I've never seen anything like this, folks. It looks like another Springtron. This was not in the script. This must be a fake Springtron, but who could have created such a thing? Never mind. Pound this poster in the scrap and let's get on with the Grand Prix. I was not expecting this to happen. I was not expecting to go 0 losses all the way this far. Because it hadn't happened with anyone else. It happened like once. I really was not prepared for this. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, please, Nintendo. No more fighters who have the same shockwave as Springman. I don't want another Max Brass or another Springtron. Just please come up with new abilities for fighters to have. Like, I get this, the Shockwave is a great move. And it's like, I like that Byte and Bark can do it without, it's based on jumping on Bark. It's not a, partial charge ability. So that would be okay, but please, stop giving characters the ability to do shockwaves when they partially charge. It's starting to feel like that's all you know how to do to make a character's moveset flesh out. Like, I'll even accept a character where it's like Twintel, where technically her second ability is that she can dash in the air twice. Just as long as it's not a shockwave, please. But I'm just playing it up, I don't really care that much. It's like I said, if it's like a Byte and Bark, where it's a situational shockwave, that's fine. But the more they do it, the less it feels like Springman has special abilities. It's starting to make Springman. Did I say Springman the first time? I think I accidentally said Springtron. Starting to make Springman feel like he has no unique traits. Because really, his only unique trait is the permacharge when he's at 25% health. And actually, technically, that's not even true either, because Max Brass gets permacharged at 25% health, while also gaining the buffs he can gain from a full charge. So not only is he getting permacharged arms, he's also getting permanent super armor, and increased size and girth and speed. Which again, like, thinking about how old Max Brass is, it's cool that that's his ability. That he's just... It's like a show of age as experience, and not age as a weakness. Which, I guess I don't know enough, enough characters who are aged to really say, but, watching, like, Western television and cartoons and sitcoms and stuff, like, old people kind of do get treated like they're just weaker. It's like you're a kid, so you don't know anything, and then you become an adult, and you're awesome, and you're cool, and you can do things, and then you become an old man, and you're just sitting on a couch watching TV all day. So I like seeing Max Brass be treated with the respect of, he's an experienced fighter. He's not old. I mean, his age still is a large number, and by definition that makes him old, but he's not treated like an old man. He's treated like an experienced person who's a good fighter, who has a lot of strengths. I forget, is this dialogue the same? Green peppers, he hates them. Come on, Kamish, eat your greens. Anyway, here we go, the grand finale starts now. See? And his only weakness is that he doesn't eat his veggies. Which, you know, if you consult the food pyramid, it's like, oh man, how'd you get that buff by not eating your vegetables? But I've heard that the food pyramid is just, it's not true. So maybe one doesn't need vegetables to get as buff as Max. He shouts at himself. He shouts protein, so I guess that's the idea. Or maybe not. I don't know. Again, I don't know anything about nutrition, so maybe that's not true. Maybe he does need to eat his greens. Ah, man, I almost got him with that last punch. That would have for sure got him. And there we go. I would say you could see me smiling as I got him, but Springtron doesn't have a mouth to smile with. And even if he did, I bet he wouldn't smile anyway. Why are you punching over there? I'm not over there. I wasn't even... It's not like I dashed and avoided your punch. You're literally just punching where I'm not. I'm not even heading towards. Hey! That's a pretty funny voice clip. Whoop. Okay. No. Get out of there. Get out of there. I guess I don't really have any closing thoughts right now. And my voice is getting kind of tired. It's starting to actually hurt a little bit. And drinking water doesn't really help. Although it's cold water, and I have heard that you don't want to be drinking cold water when you have a sore throat. You want room temperature water or warm water. Maybe I should go make a tea after this. Get a nice green tea. I'll melt down some army guys to make a green tea. And then I'll put some sugar in it because I don't really like green tea unless it's sweetened. Because I guess I haven't had enough different types of green tea to really say. But it seems like the two I have had get kind of gross when they're almost finished. Even if I put in sugar, I think honey has helped with that. But it's just like, ugh, if this is how green tea tastes when you don't sweeten it, it's gross. What a turn of events, victory result that it showed, but no, there's a party crasher to deal with. I have no idea what's going on. What drama, what spectacle? It's your time, Springtron. Wax this wacko and make a new name for Arms Labs. It is interesting to think that in this scenario, Springtron is the good Arms Lab product, and Headlock is the bad one. Because I feel like they're, you know, lore-wise, they're on equal terms. Basically, excuse me, getting a little scratchy in the throat now. They're both basically inventions designed by Dr. Coyle to win the Grand Prix. Or I guess you could say Springtron's supposed to be the ultimate fighter, and him winning the Grand Prix is more just a measure of Dr. Coyle's success inventing him, and success in inventing the ultimate fighter, rather than she herself winning the Grand Prix. Aha, you jumped! Man, I just realized I didn't get to make an Aura reference while I was playing Sango. I missed the opportunity. Oh well. I was too focused on actually beating the game on level 7. Haha! Well, maybe that isn't hard to time. What was I saying before I got distracted? Yeah, green tea. I guess I'm definitely more of a black tea person. But I have this jasmine green tea that's really nice. The jasmine helps take the gross taste out of the end of it. Not perfectly, but excuse me. But it definitely makes it better. I should definitely try some more like other types, you know, other offshoots of green tea just to see. Maybe it's like plain green tea is the one I just can't stand. But like I said, the jasmine also it still kind of has that gross taste at the end. Like, I don't even know what flavor profile it is. I just recognize that it's like, oh, the end of the green tea, gross. I don't know if it's bitter. I think it's more like somewhere between sour and bitter. Something like that. It's just unpleasant. So I guess I would say I'm more the black tea person. That's easier for me to drink without sweetening. Despite the fact that I'm pretty sure that's the more bitter one. Anyway, we win. The winner of the Arms Grand Prix and your new Grand Champion, the Mean Machine, Springtron. Congratulations, Arms Labs can now carry out the final phase of their master plan. Ominous. There's another Arms Grand Prix trying to close. I'll look to take a look at the competitive fans at home. See you next time, folks. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be referring to Dr. Coyle herself showing up and fighting. Oh, nice shockwave at the end. So, maybe that's supposed to be setting up for a sequel. Maybe that it was just foreshadowing Dr. Coyle becoming a playable fighter. I don't know. Oh, okay. Well, there's Springtron interacting with the fans, so I guess he's not completely heartless. But he still does just strike me as, like, you know, you have Springman as the guy who plays for fun and is good at the game because he plays a lot, and then Springtron, who's a tryhard, basically, who just does everything he can just to win. But it's not canon. That's just how I feel about them. Also, his legs remind me of a transformer. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye. I really gotta go make a tea. I can't record the next episode today. I gotta give my voice a rest. Cherish, you give it a rest too.